Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Just Your Thoughts. Please do me this favor. You know I'm new to this game, so like, share, subscribe, help a brother out. Come on now, please. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Anyways, yeah, that sound like I'm begging, right? I don't care. Oh well. But anyways, in the previous episode, I've explained to you, I've shared with you a little bit about my father. My dad was a preacher, born in Haiti. He was a Catholic priest. Then he became a Baptist preacher. When we came in America, instead of my dad preaching at a Haitian church, with me and my brothers, he would preach at an American church. My dad spoke 4 languages: English, Spanish, French, and Latin. So he was also an educator. He was a teacher in Haiti. But when he moved here into the U.S., a lot of things changed for him. He was doing the best for his kids, but he had reasons to move here in the U.S. That would be for another episode, I guess, if I decide to talk about that. But anyways, my dad was a preacher, man. And one thing about my father that he taught me and my brothers was to be honest, to tell it like it is, tell the truth. And the times where I got in deep trouble with my dad is when I lied. And no matter what wrong that I have done, when I told the truth, basically there was probably a little punishment, but there was hardly any punishment. Now, if you thought that I was lying, that's a whole nother story, so maybe for another episode. But anyways, my dad was a good guy, an honest guy, a hard worker, a provider, a teacher. And every Saturday morning as a child, my dad would have Bible studies with me and my brothers. And every morning before my dad went to work, he would wake me and my brothers up. We would sing a church song, and we would pray, and then he would leave. He was serious about being a preacher. He was serious about being a man of God. He's probably the most honest man that I've ever known in my life. The most honest man. And I'm happy to say that it was my father. But of course, he wasn't perfect. He did his best. He did what he can do. He did what he understood to be right. He was the man of the book, and he lived by the book, which means he was strict. But through his lessons, one thing that he taught me and my brothers is to be a seeker of truth. One of his favorite lessons was knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Seek, and you shall find. Ask, and you shall receive. So that's something that he would say to me repeatedly. Be a seeker of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And I know most preachers, they preach about having faith, believing in the Lord, believing in God, and trusting in God. And for many people, that's enough for them. They believe in God, but their works and their actions doesn't necessarily speak to what they believe in. But because my dad taught me to be a seeker of knowledge, it led me to many studies. It led me to really read the Bible, and I was a strong believer in the Bible. You heard I say was. Not only did I study the Bible, the words that's in the Bible, I've studied where the Bible is actually written, who was writing the Bible, the many times the Bible has been written. And I must say, there's a lot of great teachings and lessons in the Bible that we all can abide by and live by, which will make our life great, wholesome, and a good life. So there are many lessons in there. But there's also certain scriptures that many of you wouldn't necessarily agree with. Some I don't even agree with. But I understand why it's in the scriptures. So there's a few scriptures that I'm sure many of you wouldn't agree with. However, many of you are strong believers, even though your actions doesn't necessarily speak to what you believe. So I'm gonna read a particular Bible verse for you guys that I think all women will disagree with. If not all. Well, not all. Let me not make any absolutes here. Most women would disagree with. 1 Timothy 2 verse 12, right? It says, I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. Let me say that again. I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. I'm sure many women would disagree with that. And the women who would disagree with that, many of you claim that you believe in the Bible wholeheartedly. Many of you claim that it is the word of God. But you would definitely disagree with this verse. I'm not asking you to agree with it or to disagree with it. I'm asking you to think. Think a little bit more critically about this. Maybe it will force you to do a little bit more research, to read a little bit more, study a little bit more, understand a little bit more. But there's purpose behind this. I mean, given the times it was written, a time where men were predominantly and still are the builders of society. That's what men are. The builders of society. And women needs men to build. Women need men to create the world in which they live in. Now, of course, many of you women believe that you should have the right to teach. And I believe that you should have the right to teach. Actually, women, you are the first teachers of humanity. You're the first to teach children. Fathers have their place. You know, fathers have a very important place. But the world in which we live in today, we keep separating men and women. Children are growing up without their fathers. And for the most part, it's very much so systemic. It's not by accident. Because fathers are needed in society. Fathers are the ones who put the right type of discipline in children. See, women, you're nurturing. You're also very emotional. You're also very loving and very caring. Sometimes you have to be hard and strict. And it's not easy for most women to really do what is necessary. And that's what fathers are there for. There's a reason why children who are raised under their fathers, even if their mother's not around, does a whole lot better in life than the children that are raised by their mothers alone. So we have a lot of children out here that don't know any better, that feels that women empowerment is clapping their cheeks everywhere they go. A lot of women feel that way. We live in a society in which we celebrate strip culture, in which we celebrate pornography, which we celebrate OnlyFans. And women love the attention that they are receiving from showing their bodies. Many of them know that their father would disapprove, would not agree to it, but because many of them don't have a relationship with their fathers and possibly hate their fathers or have some issue with their fathers, they don't care. They would do what they want. This is the world in which we live in. This is what guides us and control us to some degree Um, and this is who we have become. We have become degenerates, where we feel our importance is our bodies. Understand, you are not your body. I mean, if you are a woman of faith and you believe in God, then you would also understand that you are not your body. And you should not utilize your body as a tool to move your way up in life. Because the more you utilize your body, the less you utilize your mind. Now I get it, right? Who don't want to have a nice looking body. Many of you will go under surgery. You're not willing to actually eat what is good for you, what will actually aid the body to maintaining a healthy, sexy appearance. It's easier to eat the trash and then do the surgery. But many of you are, would claim to be women of faith, a believer in Jesus, a believer in the Lord. Yet your behavior on a day-to-day basis doesn't necessarily reflect that. And it sounds like I'm coming across to bash women. Actually, I'm not. You see, as a man, I understand the importance of women. Men have no future without women. There is not a world to build without women. So, you're the mothers of society. And society cannot be any greater than its women. And whatever state that you are, your children will reflect that. Unless he's raised by his father. And of course there's no absolutes here. There are many children, that have been raised by their moms and are doing well in society, who have actually become great fathers and great men. I know many of them. So there's no absolutes here. However, the statistics and the numbers shows that greater of these young men that are raised by their mothers, majority of them end up in jail, in the prison system. So fathers are important. Ladies, understand the purpose of a man. Understand your purpose as a woman. And although I do not believe that, according to the Bible, that women shouldn't teach, regardless whether you believe in that or not, naturally speaking, you are the first teachers. You are a nurturer of life. So naturally you will teach. You will teach by your behavior. You will teach by how you talk. You will teach by the lessons that you give. We all are teachers. Everybody learn from each other. So, although I grew up in the faith, I must say that there's a lot in which I've come to understand, especially about what goes on in many of these churches. And I will leave that for the next episode. But for now, just your thoughts. Peace.